Are you trying to get into video editing but just don't know where to start? It's all good. Think I can help you out today. Now, if you're watching this video, I'll assume that you've already downloaded Lightworks and have opened it up and are ready to begin. So let's begin. First thing I'm going to do is go to the top right, click on that little settings button there, and make sure that my project layout says fixed instead of flexible. Fixed, in my opinion, is far easier to work with. We're going to go over to create a new project, and we'll just name this project First Project. Press create, and it opens up. You'll see some panels here. Let's not worry about anything here. Now, I've got a bunch of videos I've downloaded from pexels.com. It's a great place to grab clips and B-roll for your movies. Now, I'm going to go to my local files here. That's the files on my computer. And I've made sure that I've got all of my clips saved in a folder. Didn't just dump them on the desktop. Let's get a bit more organized when we're making our videos. I'm going to select all of the videos by pressing Command A on my computer, Control A on your computer if you're using Windows, and I'm going to press Import at the bottom here. I'm now going to press Edit, and you can see those videos that I imported are now sitting as my own project files in my project. Let's click on this little button here to go to List View. I find it a bit easier to just read down. You can see I've renamed my clips. I tend to do that when I've got lots and lots of clips. It helps me to organize my edits a little bit better. Let's have a look at what we've got on the screen so far. Let's ignore this top left for this video. It's not important. In this media panel we've imported into our project, they'll just sit there happily until we need to use them. We've got our output window or our preview window that shows you whatever is going to be in the timeline. So essentially, as you're making your movie, you can see it here. And at the bottom, we've got our timeline. We've got one video track, which is V1, and we've got two separate audio tracks, A1 and 2 and A3 and 4. Now, of course, A1 and 2 is your left and your right, meaning that your soundtrack's going to be in stereo. For this particular tutorial, we don't need a double audio track, so I'm going to right click, delete in A3 and 4, leaving me with just one audio track. Now, editing a video is a simple case of dragging the clips you've got in your own media, in your own library there, and dropping it on the timeline. Now, moving clips is really as simple as just dragging it and dropping it where it needs to go. Let's very quickly press the space bar to play our clip. You can see it's a good peaceful beginning, but a little bit too long. Now I think we need to cut this clip down to a slightly shorter time, and there's a couple of ways, or a number of ways actually, in Lightworks to do this. Some of them are clunky and some of them are really easy. Let's go through the clunky just so that you know where it is and really avoid it most of the time. You're going to put your mouse at the end of the clip. You can see the mouse changes to this little symbol here. Click and don't let go, and you can drag that clip shorter. I'll move it back to where it was. You can also go to the other end, click, don't let go. In this case, you have to actually roll the movie into the marker like that to make it shorter. I'm going to undo that last step as well. I find this an incredibly clunky way of doing it. Generally speaking, what I would do is move the playhead to where you think the cut should be. If you need to fine-tune the position of the playhead, use your left and right arrows, and it will move per frame in the timeline like this. And when you're at the place you want to cut, press C on your keyboard. The bit you don't need, pick it up and just throw it out of the timeline. And that is a simple cut. Really easy, really fast. Now let's grab a second clip, but before we grab it, I'm going to double click it. That's the Rode Fast one. We double click it and it will open up a small preview window that's next to your timeline preview over here, or your output window, and it will open up a small preview window. Now, once I click inside this panel over here, pressing the spacebar will now operate this preview window. I can see where I want to start my clip, which is roughly, let's just go for here. I'm going to press I on my keyboard, which is the equivalent of pressing that button over there, which is an in marker. I'm going to press the spacebar and let it play a few seconds like this. Press the spacebar again to stop it, and you can see there's a small light blue area over here. Now this in Lightworks is known as a mark. That's the mark I put in, which is the in. And park, because what I've done is I've parked the playhead over there. I can now pick up this clip and put it down. And you can see that it's only a small portion of that clip, which is really cool. If I close this down and open it up again with a double click, you can see that the mark and the park has been memorized. It's really cool, which means I can grab that clip again or put in another mark and park. Now there is another way of doing this. Let me just clear the in and out there. Let's move the playhead over here. You can mark an in with an I, press play, like this. And when you're finished, press O on your keyboard to mark an out. Now the advantage of this is that you can play the rest of your clip just to see what's happening. Is there anything that you need to think about, and you don't lose your in and out. So that's two ways of doing it. It's mark and park and an in and an out. Either way is good. Let's just close that preview window down. And now we have our clips in our timeline like this. We're going to move from the slow moving grass clip to the fast moving road clip. Now, sharp-eyed viewers here might see that my computer is lagging whenever I play. Now I've got a pretty decent MacBook Pro that I'm working on right now. Now one thing to get used to in video editing, it doesn't matter how good your computer is, there will be points where your computer's lagging. Every single one of these clips I got from Pexels.com is a 4K clip, which means my computer's struggling to play back in real time and do this. Don't worry, it's quite normal. Now that we've got the techniques of cutting in the timeline or marking and parking or in and outing our clips while they're still in our library, we can put together a movie pretty fast. So let's just grab another clip. I'm going to double click it here, open up a preview window. I can see it's 20 seconds long. Let's put the playhead over there, mark an in, press the spacebar like that, press stop on the and pick it up and put it down. You can see there's no audio here. For this video it doesn't matter, I'm not dealing with audio today, so let's not worry about that. Let's close this window down, and I think I'll do one last one, which will be the clouds moving. Now obviously my timeline isn't making any sense. I'm not making any kind of artistic statement today. All I'm doing is dragging things onto a timeline and making sure that you guys understand how to do it. So as you can see guys, making a video is really as simple as grabbing your clips, making sure you only choose the bit that you want to put into the timeline, and then putting it into the timeline. Really easy like that. Let's just go back, press the spacebar and see what's happening in this video. It's a bit slow moving. And let's have a look. See guys, I'll agree with you. I'm not really making an artistic statement today with my video, just showing you guys how easy it is to pick up a clip, throw it into the timeline, and start making your movies really quickly. Now what else can we do while we're here? Let's go to VFX. You've got a whole number of effects that you can put in, but today I'm only going to be concerned with putting in some transitions and some titles. That's all. Let's go to the mix and we'll do a dissolve. Quite like my dissolves. Let's pick it up like this and put it like that. I am on purpose overlapping clip number 1 and clip number 2 like that. Let go of my mouse. Now if I put the playhead back and press play, you can see that the clip dissolves into the next clip. It's a classic transition used in movies for a very long time. So that's one way of spicing up your videos so that it's not jarring or abrupt when you cut. You can always go back, click on the plus, go to whichever effect you want. In this case, I'm only dealing with the mix VFXs. Let's do one other one just to show you that it's not all dissolves and fades. Let's put a push in. Rewind it back a few seconds like that and just see what happens. Press play using my spacebar and you can see that. It's a very Star Wars effect, isn't that? Let's have a look at that again. It's pretty cool. You're not limited to just doing cross dissolves or fades. You can do anything that's in the list of our DVEs here. Now while we're here, we may as well throw some text into our movie. Let's go to our first clip, which is the grass, like this. And what I'll do is I want a title to be on the screen when the movie starts. So I'm now going to mark an in while I'm here. I'm going to press play and I want the credits to kind of be that long there. So I'm not really thinking, I'm just pressing the space bar there like that. I can do a mark or park, or I can do an in and out. Doesn't matter. In this case, I'm just going to leave it as a mark and a park. Let's go to the VFX text section, and what I want to do is just put in a very simple title. Put that in like that, and you can see that it only occupies the area between the mark and the park. There. You can see I've got something that's called sample text. Let's say Mad Tech Presents. Almost seems like a feature film that I'm making, doesn't it? Let's change the typeface to something a little bit more classic, I suppose. Let's increase the size to there. Let's take that shadow off, for goodness sakes. There you go. The color of the text, not really a fan of that. So let's pick up our color picker like this. And I'm actually going to go to, let's go to a slightly different part. Let's go to a darker one there. And that's a good way of picking out a color from your screen so that you don't have to guess which color like that. So I'm going to put that back to, I think, that dark brown. Let's go there to, which one should we do? Let's go to there. That's cool. Don't really like the font now that I've changed the color, so let's make that into something different. Let's go with that one. Yeah, it's a bit more futuristic for me. There you go, like that. Now when we press play, from when it starts, and it just jumps off. If you want to add a tiny bit of flair, a bit of style to your text, you can also have some effects here. You can fade it in, and you can fade it out. So now when we do this, it will come in, and it will go out with a fade. Absolutely brilliant, isn't that? Let's go back to our edit. So guys, just to summarize what we've done in this video, we picked up the grass video, stuck it into our timeline, and we cut it using the letter C on our keyboard. Obviously, we moved the playhead to where we wanted to cut it, press C, and then cut. We also had a very quick look at moving your mouse to the ends and the start of the clips. I don't recommend you using that. I don't. It's too clunky for me. We also talked about how to use mark and park using I, and then just stopping where you're playing to grab only portions of the clips that you need. Really, really easy. We then talked about adding some transitions, that's a dissolve and a push, and then finally throwing in a text effect just to add a tiny bit of professionalism into our video. Let me just close it down. Let me just resize this so that we can see it in all its glory, like that. And having our first edit. Now you can see again, my computer's lagging. I'm not worried about that. It's kind of normal. You get used to it after a while. And now guys, to finish off this video, I think it might be useful to look at our timeline as it is and see what can we do when stuff's in the wrong place or not quite right. It happens very often. You might put together a movie and think, well, these mountains should have actually come after the clouds and not before. So what can we do, guys? It's really simple. You can take a clip, click and drag it out, and just reform your video as you see fit. Like that. It's really that simple, really. Now there is a scenario where you've made a whole timeline full of edits, maybe 10, 20, 30, even 100 clips, and you've been spending all your time editing them perfectly. And then as you're viewing your timeline, you realize one of your clips is just a little bit too short or a little bit too long. Now, it could be a disaster because now you've got all these edits afterwards. It's not a simple case of just cutting stuff and doing that. There is a really fast way of actually editing a little bit extra or a little bit less of a clip. Let's just zoom in a little bit like this. I'm going to move my mouse to the end of the mountain clip. Now, a really good tip is pressing A and S on your keyboard to move the playhead to the start and the end of a clip. And you can just do that. You can actually just press S and it will go to the end of each clip, or you can press A and go to the start of each clip. Really, really useful. In this case, I'm going to use S and go to the end of my mountains, like this. And what I want to do is I want to take off a few frames of the farm drone. We're going to go to the end of the clip, wait for our mouse to change into that little symbol there, and just click once. You'll see that it goes yellow, And the preview window changes so that I've got the last frame of my mountains clip and the first frame of my farm drone clip. Now, using your arrow keys on your keyboard, you can actually reduce the number of frames at the end of your clip. I'm just going to press my left key a few more times. So if I press my arrow keys, you can see that the mountains is getting shorter and shorter, but it's not affecting anything else in the timeline. When I finish with that, I can simply go back with my mouse where it's yellow, click once, and it goes out of that editing mode. Let me just zoom out a little bit. Now, the edit I did there was not very noticeable because I only edited about 10 frames out of there. But this is really useful for those technical cuts that you've got where you've got two people talking or you've got action and you have to do match cuts and things like that. Really, really useful. Let's zoom out one more time just so that we can have a look at our grand project that we've made over here. And now that we're done editing our clips on our timeline, we should be ready to export this movie to wherever we need it to be exported to. Just come up to the timeline, right click anywhere, go to where it says sequence command and choose export. Now, we don't have much choice in the free version of Lightworks. We're restricted to the quality of our exported movie and also what we can save it as. But you can see that there's an option that says H.264 MP4. That's what I would recommend to anybody exporting a movie for YouTube. You can, of course, go and choose YouTube, log into your account and have Lightworks directly exporting the movie and then uploading it into your channel. For now, what I'll do is show you how this works over here. Click on it. You're going to get a little dialog that asks you what frame rate. I'm going to leave everything as it is. You can see the size is restricted to 720p as the maximum quality. That's the free version of Lightworks for you. Everything else I'm going to leave as it is. I'm not even going to change the name, and I'm just going to press start. And you'll see in the top left you get a small progress window that shows you your export as it happens. I'll fast forward this for you so you don't have to wait the whole time. And once that's done, that file is going to be ready for you to use for whatever purpose you need to, whether it's to upload to YouTube or to use in a different project somewhere else. And there we have the dialog confirming that the movie has been exported. Close that down, and there you have it. So I'm not going to claim that this is the greatest movie ever made, but I will say if you followed along with this tutorial, you should have the confidence to get your clips into Lightworks, put them into your timeline, cut them, move them, add some VFXs, throw some titles on top, and make a really good looking video. So, hope you learned something new today. Hope it helped you out. See you in the next video. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Think about clicking that like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up, and maybe think about hitting the bell notifications if you want to be notified every time a new video comes up.